Welcome to Good or Garbage. This is Police Tactics Imperio. Hello and welcome to another Good or Garbage game review. I'm Gibson and today we're taking a look at Police Tactics Imperio. This game was released on September 7th, 2016 on Steam and is developed by Cyberphobe X and published by Astragon Entertainment GmbH. So what is Police Tactics Imperio? Well, it's an RTS type strategy simulation where you start as a police chief in a city that's full of crime and corruption. The concept is to coordinate your emergency personnel throughout the city and fight against the criminal organization Imperio. Some of the features include upholding the law, fighting organized crime, coordinating a range of different police units, gradually unlocking new police stations, enhancements, and new units, managing and improving your headquarters and forces, realistic emergency vehicles, dynamic day and night cycles, and finally realistic police radios and sirens. The game does have a Mac version, and a link on where to get the game is in the description down below. Now before we get into it, I just want to thank everyone for the support and subscribing to the channel. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this, so thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure to check out my other reviews and guides. I post videos weekly, so be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on my latest videos. So you start the game off with some storytelling and a decent voice acting for a title that is under $20. It's also presented in a comic book art style layout, which is very nice and pleasing to look at. After the introduction, you're brought into the tutorial and given the basic rundown of the controls. I found the tutorial very straightforward and easily understood, although in many of the Steam reviews and some posts on the forums were complaints about the tutorial lacking in direction and flow. I didn't seem to have any issues with it. It explained all of the aspects of the game quite nicely and it was worded well, although it did seem like it ran on a bit long. Even after a few missions, I was still getting some type of tutorial information, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It was just dragging on a bit. The first thing I noticed when playing the game was the inability to zoom the camera out more than a few clicks on the scroll wheel. This brought an entirely new meaning to the top-down genre. On top of the low camera view, the map scrolling was very slow. These two things alone made the game pretty difficult to manage, although there are icons that will pop up around the sides of the screen for missions and emergencies that you can just click on to move quickly to the location. I would prefer a much faster map scroll and higher camera view over that due to the fact I just want to see where all of my units are and what they are doing on a visual scale. The graphics in the game aren't AAA, but they are nice and fit the game well. Although I would have liked a little bit more detail when you zoom into your units catching the bad guys. As it is now, you just get some blurry animations and some generic fighting sounds. The police sirens are cool and something that I enjoyed hearing when rushing to a stabbing or a robbery. The only hitch is you can only hear the sirens if you zoom close up to the cars. It would be nice to hear the sirens from any view distance and possibly a softer sound when zoomed out. One of the other inconveniences I had with the game was the fact I couldn't, for the life of me, find out how to follow my units constantly, if there is even a way. So I was left clicking on the unit and watching it zoom off the screen while I tried to catch it with the slow map edge scrolling. Maybe one of you guys know how to do this. Leave a comment below if you know how. At the same time, the game does have the standard Rts Controls where you can group your units for quick double tap of the key to find their location, which is helpful to have. I did, however, want the ability to name my units and officers. Having the generic Squad Car 1 or Quick Patrol Car 2 wasn't what I had in mind. The ability to assign officers to specific units would have been nice also. You can also add vehicle patrols and foot patrols to your city to keep it safe. Another nice feature is the ability to set up roadblocks when there is a suspect at large. At that time, a blue circle on the map indicating the area the suspect could be in will pop up. The units will ID check cars that drive through for suspects. With these types of crimes, you're also able to send detectives out to manually ID check people walking on the street. I found this very hard to deal with and micromanage the rest of the city at the same time. Every time this type of mission came up, I found myself wanting some sort of auto ID checking for the people on the street, similar to the Roadblocks. After a while, I just skipped doing it altogether and just let those criminals escape. As you go through the game, you are presented with missions that correlate with the storyline. After completing each mission, you are rewarded with a new vehicle, upgrade to your headquarters, or unlocking a new part of the city. This created a nice flow to the game, but at times I was finding myself wanting to upgrade my units to one of the 6 varieties of promotions available and not being at the section of the story to use that particular promotion. So the game missions were at times forcing me to hold back on my progression when I just wanted to play the game and advance my units as they leveled up. This brings me to my next aggravation. There is no free mode or sandbox mode available. It's strictly a linear story mission progression. I do like a good story-based game, but I didn't find the story to be very interesting. Frankly, it was the standard police cliché. I don't want to spoil it, but it's not like anyone hasn't heard it before. 16 years ago, your father was killed and the case never solved, and you are determined to catch the people responsible for it. The plot gets even more cliché along the way, but I won't spoil it anymore if you are the rare person that never heard this story before. Even though the developers tell pretty much the entire story on the Steam page. After about 10 missions, I found myself skipping the story and just wanting to play the game in free mode. The only way to do this is to not complete the missions. But then you're left with no advancement in the game, so you're forced to play the story. I personally play these types of games for the free modes to create my own story. Why not give the player the option to advance through the game without the story? It's a standard in these types of games, and it's missing in Imperio. One of the most irritating bugs to me was the repeated sound of my patrol officers saying, "Continuing patrol," over and over, when in fact they do not continue on patrol.
Continuing patrol. Continuing patrol. Continuing patrol. Continuing patrol. Continuing patrol. Continuing patrol.
If you send a unit to a crime, they will solve the case and appear to continue on the patrol path they were on. But in reality, they will just drive an inch, then stop and sit there until you manually assign them back to a patrol route. This was the most frustrating bug or non-feature in the game for me. It made the micromanagement of my police force almost impossible to keep up with, along with the inability to not zoom out far enough to see everything on the map. I would have also liked to have the ability to pause the game and continue to view the map. This way, when things got hectic, I could stop and take a look at what needs to be done instead of being bombarded with callouts. There's a feature to speed up the gameplay if you feel like it's moving too slowly, but I had no issues with that at all. Overall, the game is fun to play for a few hours until the lack of map zoom and some of the irritating bugs collide together to create this very hectic and fast-paced game that you end up screaming at the screen in frustration. All of the random call-outs happening at once, along with the units having to be told to continue on their patrol after they are done with the crime, becomes more bothersome than fun. If you do enjoy this genre of game, I do recommend this title, although I would wait for a Steam sale or heading over to Green Man Gaming and getting 25% off. The title has everything you want in a police-focused RTS game, and with the implementation of some future patches to fix the issues I've mentioned, the game can be great fun for a few hours of play. If a sandbox mode is added to the title, you would have countless hours of gameplay. For now, we will see what the developers add or fix to improve this already enjoyable game. So is Police Tactics Imperio good or garbage? Let's ask Jesus. So thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other reviews and guides on my channel, and make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this review. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to smack that sub button to be updated on any of my new videos that I post weekly. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.